The real story this morning, when you do a morning radio show, you prepare. And you have a game plan, something of a game plan. I'm not saying I overly prepare, but there is a game plan, and now we throw the game plan out the window because our dear friend Eric the actor has died.
Are you kidding?
You didn't know?
No.
Oh, I thought you knew for some reason.
When did he die?
Saturday.
No one tells me anything.
Gee, why did I think you knew? You don't go on Twitter or anything, right?
I try to shield myself.
Right.
I was actually busy Saturday. I was in Washington, D.C. at the Veg Fest. But, no.
You ought to give me a list of things you do know. Then I can fill you in on what you don't know.
I know very little. So you can usually tell me about anything.
Do you know about the second sun that we have? They found out on Saturday there's two parallel suns in our universe, and that
there's a second sun. We're being pulled by two suns.
Yeah, it's hiding behind a sun that we normally see.
Really?
And you're saying Eric the actor's death didn't make the Veg Fest? Eric would have been so happy when he died, when it was official that he died. And we'll talk to Jan, we'll talk to Shuli. Shuli, you can come in, because I think Shuli was...
He's like the widow.
Well, Jan's got all the information.
Really the winner.
Right.
Yeah.
But Eric would have been so satisfied in knowing that... Here, his death was announced in Variety, right?
Really?
Yeah, there was as soon as it became confirmed that he had died, Eric Lynch, Eric the actor, was, by the way, a lot of people didn't know Eric's last name, Eric Lynch. He just would have been so happy with the fact that he was on the Us Magazine website announcing his death. I mean, Eric loved fame.
Well, he, felt that he was in show business.
Shuli, you spoke with Eric on Friday, I believe?
Yeah, I was on my way to do a show, and he called me Friday. And normally I always let it go to voicemail.
Right.
And for some reason, I just decided to pick up. And
see what was doing.
And he was upset at Gonzo.
Gonzo Shitcock.
Yeah. And he was just ranting.
What had Gonzo done this time?
So apparently Gonzo had prank called a gay relationship show on the internet.
Oh, I see.
And he prank called as somebody who was in a relationship with Eric.
Right.
And he called as Jan. And Eric.
Oh, my goodness.
And Eric didn't like it, and he called me upset. So I told him I would handle it, but could he call me right back and leave me a voicemail about it?
I'll play you some of... Eric always called us every morning on the voicemail. There was always a message from Eric waiting, upset about something or other that was going on. But on the phone...
So his death was sudden. It wasn't,
Jan, what happened? And, Jan, you've taken care of Eric for...
I think it was 9 years.
9 years, right?
Almost 9 years.
Almost 9 years. I mean, Jan more than anyone... Jan, Eric announced to us just on, I guess it was on Tuesday.
Last week,
Tuesday show that you, of course, had to leave him because you have to take care of your parents, and that came up in your life. And I think, Jan, more than anything, Eric really adored you, loved you, because he was also dependent on you. I sensed real sadness and fear in Eric because...
From that announcement,
because his parents... would now be taking care of him, and I think in a lot of ways that represented his freedom being taken away, right?
I think some parts, yeah.
Howard, the day that he died was technically Jan's last day.
Right.
Working
wow.
with him. And I really think that, literally, his heart was broken.
I think Eric had a broken heart because Jan was such a good friend to Eric.
You guys became friends in high school, right, Jan?
Junior high.
Junior high. So Jan was while people were picking on him, Jan stepped up and, was a friend to him.
Jan, how did you end up taking care of Eric? How did that all come about?
When his dad retired, his parents moved up to the mountains, and he got bored up there, and his parents called me and asked me if I would move in with them.
Oh.
And
in the city.
And it wasn't your life's ambition to take care of Eric, but it just sort of worked out that way.
Yeah.
I know you're broken up.
Thank
Tell me what happened. Eric seemed fine on Friday when he spoke to Shuli. Was he complaining of anything?
I'd say about Thursday night, the normal thing, he always has stomach issues because of his diet and stuff, started. And that was normal. And then Friday night, I told him he didn't look too good. He should call his parents and go to the doctors. And he said, no, it's just my stomach. I was like, no, you look a little jaundiced. And he said he felt perfectly fine besides his stomach. And like everybody said last week when he called the show, he sounded perfectly fine. Yeah. And then Saturday morning, he woke up. He had to use the bathroom, and he said he felt unstable, and he wanted to call the ambulance. So he called the ambulance, and when they showed up, his blood pressure and stuff was pretty bad and pretty low. They got him to the hospital. They got that all stable. They did tests, and his kidneys and liver started shutting down. And pretty much around about 3:15, his body just shut down. 3:15 in the afternoon.
Well, you know, Jan, I hear the pain in your voice. I loved Eric. I truly, truly loved him. I mean, when Eric would call in, I got so excited because he was the greatest. And what I loved about Eric, Jan, maybe you feel the same way, I don't know, but what I loved about him was that here was this guy afflicted with every fucking shitty thing on the planet. I mean, you couldn't have gotten worse luck dealt to you. And Eric didn't view it that way. Eric wasn't a guy who acted any differently than any of us. I was always amazed how feisty he was, how pissed off he was, how he called me Big Nose and Gary Beavertooth. And what I loved about Eric, most people in Eric's condition would be bitter. But Eric loved life. He loved watching TV. He loved celebrities. He loved show business. He loved wrestling. He was passionate.
He was a real fan.
He was a fan. And yeah. I was like, oh my God, Eric, you know, you see so many people who, let's say, are in a wheelchair or who have Eric's, all of his physical deformities, really. And his foot, it was club-footed. His foot was turned around. It was a whole thing. Couldn't walk. And out of all of this, he still carried on like a maniac.
Yeah.
And it was the greatest. I said,
One of the best things would be all of the demands. Johnny hasn't done this, and Johnny hasn't done
My favorite Eric moment, Jan, was, I have a couple when I think about him. I'm thinking about, you okay, Jan?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah. I think my favorite moment, well, I have a couple, and I'll play some of them. But my favorite moment had to be when Eric had gotten a job on a TV show that we got for him in plain sight. And he had to go down to New Mexico, but he was afraid that werewolves lived in New Mexico because Johnny told him, he read on IMDb that there are werewolves in New Mexico.
I was there for this. It was amazing.
Yeah, and it was the greatest thing because I go, you know, here in the middle of everything, Eric says, look, I don't want...
He's demanding.
And I convinced the guy, I said, do you think they'd put all their actors in danger with werewolves? I didn't try to convince him that there weren't werewolves because he wasn't hearing any of that.
I believe he requested silver in his writer.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Silver bullet. I really think he did.
No, just silver, because he could use it. And there was my other favorite Eric moment was someone had really bummed out Eric. If you remember the story, I remember it like it was yesterday. Eric called in. He was completely pissed off. There was a guy from his high school going around claiming that Eric ruined high school because Eric forced him to put in a wheelchair ramp, which wasn't true. And Eric was so bent out of shape about it that he called up Johnny and he left him a voice message. And he said, Johnny, this guy's a pain in the ass. Take care of it. You know what to do. You know what to do. And I was like, this guy's like a little mafia guy, you know. He's like, and I know Johnny was thrilled because Eric actually sounded like one of the mob bosses that Johnny grew up around. It was the great. I got to just play it for you.
Oh, here's Eric the Midget. Let's find out.
I'll get him on the phone.
What are you, nuts?
What are you, nuts?
Eric.
For what?
So what?
What do you think, you can call a hit on someone?
That's a felony.
I wasn't calling a hit. Johnny knows what I'm talking about, not a hit.
What are you
what do
talking
you want,
about?
Him to, find someone to teach this kid a lesson.
Oh, you want him legs broken or
Beat up.
What do you want done to him? Because Johnny's got to know what to do. You leave a message like that, Johnny thinks he's supposed to go kill him.
Hey, Howard.
Eric, I want to hear this message you left Johnny.
Received yesterday at 1:26 a.m.
Hey, Johnny, did you catch the replays where that dumbass that was supposedly from my school called in and said that I ruined the school because of having them do construction and everything? Find that guy. His name's Gary. You know what to do. You know what to do. Just find him.
Johnny, how did he get the impression that this was what you do?
That little motherfucker's a gangster, okay?
You know what to do. Oh, my God. Jan, so you get a call that Eric has died from the hospital, that they call you? Are you the person they call?
No, I was there.
You were there.
Yeah, he went with him to the hospital.
All right, tell me what you're feeling, Jan, because you must be in shock over this. This is a guy you spent every single day with. Did you ever have a day off even?
Just a little bit during Christmas time.
And you, yeah.
It was complete shock because it was out of nowhere. It wasn't expected. It was all he thought he was having was stomach problems, and it was out of nowhere. And then, like Shuli said, today I was leaving to go to stay in a hotel and then going to the airport tomorrow. So it's just a little eerie that it was on my last day.
How hard was it for you to leave, Eric? Had you sort of been at the end of it? Like, had you kind of said, I can't do this anymore? Or was it, I know you have to take care of your parents. Was it hard for you to leave, Eric?
Yeah, it sucked. It sucked. I knew it was bothering him.
It was hard on him because you represented his freedom, really. I mean, nobody at 30, Eric was 39, by the way. No one at 39 wants to be sort of with their parents and have their parents taking care of them. You represented his freedom. Like, his parents weren't going to take him to the bunny ranch. You were willing to do that, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
And I think he was taking it hard, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And, of course, even though the last, let's say, year he hadn't been feeling much but to just hang out on his bed because of arthritis and stuff, he still kind of stared at me and he wouldn't be able to do as much stuff.
Yeah. So when are they doing the funeral?
There isn't nothing planned yet. They've got to get that all still planned yet. I can, because I know on the internet there's all kinds of fake funeral services telling people to go to certain churches in Sacramento. There is nothing yet. And when there will be, his family's just going to have a small private funeral, and they ask for privacy and respect.
Right.
His family asked if any fans want to honor him. Eric, pretty much when he was younger, grew up in the Shriners Hospital, Sacramento / San Francisco, and said if they want to honor him, they can put a donation in his name to the Shriners, Sacramento.
Hard to believe.
And then,
go ahead, yeah.
And then his parents know about the Stern fan groups that meet up. They said feel free if they want to have get-togethers and mourn him together. But there's not going to be a public service for him.
Right. Well, you know, Jan, Eric was a little in stature, but a big presence, particularly on this show. I was just so taken with him. And you know, I was saying earlier, you know, Eric loved the spotlight. He really did. He'd love to be at these events. He would love to be a part of everything. And, you know,
he was just saying that he was upset with Johnny for not getting together some trip because he was going to go visit the Jimmy Kimmel show and do a lot of things down in Los Angeles.
He was always upset with Johnny for not getting him on things. It literally was a phone call every week from him about that.
But I was saying, Jan, too bad Eric isn't around to see that. He's on this TMZ website. He's in Us Weekly. There's a big picture of him. There's a big picture.
Yeah, he was on he's on the Sacramento NBC news station's website, which he was friends with one of the news people there. He was on a bunch of different news channels websites.
His death was announced.
He was pretty much everywhere.
His death was announced by Variety magazine, which is the show business Bible. You know, I mean,
He made it.
He made it. He made it.
He's finally an actor.
He was. Last night, I don't know if it's changed, he was number 5 trending on Twitter and then number 6 trending worldwide on all web.
He was number 1 for like an hour on Twitter, or maybe more, but he was number 1 on there.
That would have been important to Eric, right, Jan?
Yeah.
He would have liked that. Jan, what is your future? What are you going to be doing? I mean, I know you're going to take care of your parents. They're ill. How is this affecting your life, and what's your game plan?
I'm staying an extra week, and then, like you said, going to take care of my parents. I guess you could say everything happens all at one time. My dad got put in a wheelchair, and my mom is going blind. So I'm going out to help them and stay
You're a
with
good
them.
dude, Jan. I'll tell you. I mean, there's nobody more giving than Jan. I mean, to hang in there with Eric all those years and give Eric his freedom in a sense. And Jan wasn't getting rich doing it, as you know. And and now to be a caregiver to your parents. You're a very caring guy. I don't know much about you, but you strike me as being incredibly loving.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wanted to say that to you because
his whole adult life, he's been taking care of people.
Jan, you ever get angry about that? Do you ever say to yourself, who's going to take care of me?
No.
Are you religious?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're more like Jesus than Jesus. I mean, Jesus was running.
I don't know about that.
I think so. Jesus was just kind of running around. He had groupies. He had all kinds of, I mean,
Well,
Jan.
Jesus, he stopped by the sick, but he made him well. So.
Yeah, but Jan really, he doesn't mind being the guy behind the guy. He's just a fucking good guy.
Right. He never wanted to be a part of, the spotlight. He let Eric have the whole thing.
Yep.
And I've seen Eric interact with Jan backstage. Jesus wouldn't have put up with that shit. Jan is a good guy. Trust me.
Would Eric yell at you too, Jan? Would he get angry with you and give you shit, or were you the one person he wouldn't give shit to?
Not really yelled, just talked to me with attitude, and it was usually after he either dealt with a Stern fan,
right,
or on the show and got pissed off at something on the show.
I sensed he always enjoyed. Jan, you correct me if I'm wrong. Feel free, but I always sensed that he enjoyed even the interaction with Gonzo Shitcock. Like it just gave him. It gave him something to do. You know what I mean?
Gave him meaning.
I guarantee you, he had a fighting bug in it. He liked to fight.
Yeah.
Because he was one of the only people I know that believed if people were talking to him and being wrong, if he didn't pay attention to him, he lost. Most people would see it that he was losing and they were winning by him going back and fighting with them. But he's seen it the opposite way, so he definitely liked to fight.
Did you ever have moments of Eric, Jan, where like Eric would turn to you, and be the real Eric in the sense that, we knew him on the air, and whenever you're on the air, it's always an exaggerated personality. What did you?
A lot of people couldn't distinct show in reality.
Was Eric a sensitive guy underneath it all?
Oh yeah.
He was.
I'd tell you the first time I met the real Eric is after a show I took him. We all went to a strip club, and I went right to the front of the stage with Eric, and we were taking turns crumpling up dollars and throwing it over to the dancers because they were a little far away. And when the girl was done, this stage had a curtain that dropped down, and Eric and I are literally at the front of the stage, and the curtain dropped down on Eric and me, like right on our heads. And I immediately freak out, and I pull him out, in his wheelchair, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And he looks at me and goes, "What a way to go."
Eric loved women, right, Jan? I mean, that was the thing. Was the highlight of his life, and I want you to answer me, was one of the highlights, or certainly maybe the highlight, was when we got him laid at the Bunny Ranch. Am I correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the guy, the poor guy, was sort of saddled with this body that, he couldn't really ever be treated like a man because he was so dependent on everyone. And when he went to the Bunny Ranch, for once he felt like, fuck, this is what it must be like. You know what I mean? To just be normal and have a chick into you. Yeah. If you remember this, who fucked Eric is what I want to know.
That was Cherry last night.
Cherry last night.
Yeah, me last night.
Cherry, was he good in bed? I mean, did you have an orgasm?
I'm good on him.
Yeah, so you did not have an orgasm, but he had one.
No, she managed to make herself.
Oh, you did. You did have one.
Yeah, I did.
I see.
Last
Did you
night.
have to touch your clitoris to stimulate
He
yourself?
actually can touch my clit.
You were playing with her clitoris, Eric. You knew how to do that.
Yeah.
Where did you learn that move? In porn?
Yeah, I guess from watching that.
I see. All right.
So you knew exactly what to do, huh, Eric? Pretty much.
Wow. I'm sure all the whores at the Bunny Ranch, their panties are at half-mast today.
Yeah, they are flying a flag at half-mast.
They seem to like Eric, the girls. They did. I mean,
This is the thing about prostitutes. They seem to like everybody.
Well, that's what I love about him, and that's why I felt good about Eric going there, because, I mean, I knew Eric, Jan, Eric beat the odds. He was a guy, they told him as a teenager, he wouldn't even live to be a teenager. Didn't they tell him that?
Yeah. He was honoring, told him no, he'll live a full life. So
Yeah, and
he told all doctors that.
And he kind of proved them all wrong. He lived to the age of 39 is still way too young, but
for what he was dealing with?
For what he was dealing with, it was pretty amazing that he lasted that long. And I always knew in the back of my mind that, when I'd hear, every once in a while there'd be a rumor. Like last week they had a rumor that Beetlejuice died or something. Right. And of course it turned out.
There was actually 4 days ago or so a rumor that Eric died too.
Right. Whenever Eric even said he was going he had to go get checked or this, everyone, right away you'd read rumors. And when I first heard, I know around here, they said Eric might have died because no one believed it. And I didn't believe it because really because I knew Eric's situation with his health, I knew that we'd lose him at any time. I knew it. But I never really thought the day would come. You know what I mean? He just seemed to be beating the odds all the time. I just never imagined Eric not being here. And I got to tell you, it affected me so much. And even my wife, and I suspect this is for a lot of people. My wife goes, my wife doesn't really know the show all that well. And she really didn't know Eric, but she was crying. She felt so sad to hear that Eric was gone. And she couldn't explain why. She goes, I don't know why. I feel something about this. And that's how I think all of us are feeling right now. We didn't know Eric personally, but we knew him over the air. We knew about his situation. We knew how hard his life was. And I always knew that. And I always loved giving Eric airtime. Eric loved airtime. There was one time he called in. He was so pissed off. He left a voice message for me. He was angry that he couldn't give it on the air. He was on hold. And there were times I couldn't get to Eric.
How dare you?
Yeah, right. Oh,
how dare you?
That was a real affront.
He would be.
Hey, Richard, it's me, Eric. I was on hold for 2 hours and 59 damn fucking minutes. I'm getting sick of this shit. This is getting fucking ridiculous as hell. He needs to start taking calls from his regular callers that used to call him on K-Rock. I mean, just getting annoyed with it. Tell him that I want to talk to him tomorrow. I want on the air tomorrow. Bye for now. Your boss is a piece of shit.
He would get so mad. There were times he would call in and go, I can't believe you spoke to, like, Julia Roberts for an hour, like he'd be...
How about when he'd say, you didn't take my call when you were talking to this person?
Oh, he'd get so mad. I remember one time Simon Cowell was on, and, when we first met Eric, he was so into American Idol.
He was Eric the Idol expert.
He was Eric the Idol expert, and he wanted Kelly Clarkson at the time and Diana DeGarmo. And when I finally had Simon on, I promised Eric I would at least bring it up to Simon.
Eric the Midget is on the phone. He's in a wheelchair. Eric, I said I'd do this for you. I'm going to do it, okay?
Okay.
All right. The kid wants to have sex either with Kelly Clarkson or Carrie Underwood.
He wants a date, is what he's calling.
And he wants you
Thank
to...
you, Robin. You guys.
Well, he's hoping it'll lead to either a hand release of some kind or something. And he's probably not long for the world. How much longer do you have to live with your condition, Eric?
I've outlived what the doctor said.
How long did they give you to live? How long did they tell you would live?
They said I wouldn't make it out my teens.
So this is borrowed time.
This is borrowed time,
okay,
you guys.
So we're talking about seconds here.
Right.
Eric, can I suggest something? Why don't you go for someone who maybe made the top 100 rather than the two winners?
That's what I
said. The guy is going to die.
No, but they're not even. But they're not even the cute ones.
Simon Cowell goes, we're talking about seconds here. I thought that was great.
One of my favorite memories with you and him was when you were first signing on to do AGT, and you had him on the phone.
Right.
And you pitched him an idea. You said, what if we come back from commercial, the camera pans the judges' tables, you're sitting on my lap.
Right.
We don't ever explain who you are or why you're there.
Just put him there.
Would you do that? And his reply is just a pause, and then he goes, I'm 37 goddamn years old. It's one of the best responses ever.
God, that's so great. First time he ever called in.
was about Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah, it was about Kelly Clarkson. He wanted to defend her. I think I
called her.
And Friday.
Yeah, I called her fat, and Eric just was beside us.
But Friday was his 12-year anniversary.
Is that right?
Yeah,
Wow.
and I was supposed to see Thursday. I was supposed to do an interview with him for the news. He texted me. He said, "My stomach's not doing well. Can we do it Friday?"
Right.
So Friday, I had the story from Thursday plus his anniversary, and he usually 1:00 our time. He's usually up on the West Coast. He wasn't up like he normally was, and we missed each other, and he never let that happen.
You know, you're right. I see here September 19th, 2002, this clip is from.
Eric, how old are you?
27.
What's wrong with you? There's something wrong, right?
Well, I'm a disabled person.
Yeah, okay.
You're a guy?
Yes.
Oh.
I'm only 3'5", 3'6".
We got to get you down here. 3'5"? What are you, a midget?
Yeah.
And what, are you ill or something?
No. It's just, it's 5 o'clock in the morning here.
Are you shorter than Mini-Me?
No, I think he's around the 2-foot mark.
Wow.
Right.
I'm always amazed at how little Mini-Me is.
Yeah. If Mini-Me's 2 foot, you're 3'5"?
3'5".
You tower over him.
Yeah.
Somewhere in between that.
You work in a circus or on a show or something?
No. I'd like to get into show business, into acting, and into singing and stuff like that.
What do you do right now?
Actually, nothing. I'm living off SSI.
When's the last time you got laid?
Never.
Wow.
This guy's never gotten laid.
Wow.
What a gift you gave him.
Yeah,
to get laid,
sitting
huh?
here thinking, look, he's sitting there, he had hopes and dreams of being in show business.
When I hear that clip, I'm like, Eric wanted to be a singer. I was like, I've never heard him sing ever. I mean, we should have gotten him a singing
We had
job.
him sing.
Well, you had him do that wild thing one time.
Right, yeah. The singing was not his thing. You know, but Eric did act. I mean, we got him on about, I don't know, 10 shows maybe?
I remember watching him on the set of In Plain Sight in New Mexico, and just, you know, how seriously he took the job and how well he wanted to do at it. And it wasn't about getting out there and fucking around. Like, he saw himself as an actor, and he was hired as one, and he was going to do his job.
Oh, yeah. No, he wasn't kidding around. In Plain Sight with Mary McCormick. I mean, he...
I promised I'd get her help. I keep my promises.
Get her to Finkel. Anyway, good job. You compliment me? Well, don't get excited. I'm hormonal. Plus, my kid's in the hands of rank amateurs.
Hey, who's gonna get her crap out of that apartment?
Jeez, I don't know what Beth's whining about. He seems sweet.
I'm goddamn serious.
Aw, adorable.
Oh, there he is acting.
That was the day when he did they had a bunny on set that was supposed to run out of the house, and his line, he was supposed to yell, "Don't let the bunnies out."
You know, what happened to that?
He did like 19 versions of it, and all exactly the same.
So many celebrities, Jan, so many celebrities were tweeting yesterday. I think Eric would have been pleased.
Andy Cohen talked about it on his show last night, too.
Oh, did he? I mean, Eric would have just loved this. That's the problem. You know?
I hope he knows. I hope there's some place that he went to and he can see all this.
Johnny Knoxville wrote, "Rest in peace, Eric the actor," on his Twitter account with a big heart sign. Jimmy Kimmel. Jimmy insisted on calling in this morning. He'll call in later. Eric the actor was my all-time favorite.
Absolutely. What is Jimmy going to do?
He says, "I will miss him terribly. # bye for now." Natalie Maines.
And,
yes, Jan?
Natalie Mean started the hashtag thing to try to get him #1. And then Zach Efron, a whole shitload of people started talking about him last night.
Natalie Maines said, "Rest in peace, Eric the actor. As a tribute, let's get Eric trending. # Eric the actor." And the people at Brickleberry said he was a pleasure to work with. Jonah Hill, "I just found out that Eric the actor passed away. He entertained me for years. So sad that this great man left us. Rest in peace, Eric." Andy Cohen. Seems like it's true. So rest in peace, Eric the actor. One of the great Stern callers ever.
We were going to originally try to wait till this morning where we can officially announce it on the show, but then family members and friends from high school seen it on family members' pages and started posting it on my page and started rumors that he was dead. So
well, it seems like everyone knew but Robin.
Yesterday.
Robin was actually shocked when I told her this morning.
VegFest.
Yeah, I heard.
Right. Because, Robin, at VegFest, they don't know Eric the actor, I guess.
I guess not.
It wasn't trending at
Like
VegFest.
News was blocked.
I'll tell you, I'll never be jealous of Robin's life when I hear she's at VegFest.
I'd rather have Jan be taking care of me.
When she's on her boat, I'll get a little envious, but not at VegFest. You know what I mean?
They were asking about you there. It was Washington, D.C., where we started.
Us Weekly, Howard Stern Show whackpacker Eric the actor Lynch died. He did not like being called a whackpacker. Let's remind people of this. In fact, Jan, I have some tape when Eric called, and he was just beside himself. Let me see if I can dig that out real quick. Somebody keeps changing my page. I don't know how that's possible. Are you crying, Jan, or is that a breathing situation?
No, I'm walking around outside where I don't keep people up.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You're out of breath, it sounds like.
Yeah, I'm just walking around, so I didn't want to keep people up.
Oh, God, I have so many great Eric moments. Do you remember when Eric measured his penis?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Why did he do that, Jan? I forget. Like, there must have been a reason, because that's something Eric normally wouldn't do.
I think you offered him something, and all I know is I got woken up that morning and by phone call asking me to bring him the roller.
Now, Eric could have faked it, but he didn't. He was a man of his word, and here's a moment. So you're laying on the bed, nude, on your back?
Yeah.
All right.
Just want to picture this.
And you're fully aroused?
Yes.
Are you ready to measure?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
It's,
Be honest. From your shaft, not from your balls.
I know. I remember what you told me.
God knows what I told him. Like your son.
5 inches.
You're 5 inches.
Fully aroused.
Poor you.
Somewhere a little over.
Jan, did you throw away that ruler after that, or did you keep it?
I don't know what happened to it, to tell you the truth.
Jan's blocked out that whole evening.
Well, that wasn't the only time that something like that happened. That time that he was, well, I guess you could say sexting or whatever you would consider through email. taking a picture of his cock and sending it out. I walked in on him when he was doing it.
And what, was he ashamed that you walked in on him?
No, he got me that he just used the bathroom and he hadn't got his pants up yet.
Oh, that's the greatest.
Mind your business.
He had a cover story.
Oh, that's so great. I have so many, oh my God. Eric with women. Eric and his penis got him into more trouble. Remember when Eric was in love with Kendra? She was a girl who had sort of...
yeah, that was probably his second most highlight with a girl till after she pretty much showed that she was a fake.
Yeah, Kendra had what, a website? She was
right, she was some kind of a
cam girl,
webcam girl or something.
And Eric
and then she worked at a strip club in Phoenix.
Yeah, and Eric was falling in love with her, and he would call up irate if anybody said anything about her. He really he really thought of her as like a girlfriend, right, Jan?
Yeah.
Eric, she's a porn star, right?
No.
Eric, I'm looking at her website. Can you define pornography for me, Eric? She's got live webcams where she's naked on her website. She's got live webcams where she makes up with other chicks. Is that not pornography?
Horsetoot. Shut up.
Well, what is wrong about that?
Well, I'm just looking at...
I don't even know who this is. Is she...
She has a website, Howard.
So I can tell you.
Does she have a website, Eric?
If you would shut the fuck up for a minute, I will tell you.
This is his best phone call ever.
Of all the ways I thought this guy would die, I never thought of an aneurysm.
He's got a girlfriend now. Look at the guy's on fire.
He's going to fight you.
Is he on meth?
Eric loved the show, didn't he? It gave him a reason it gave him fame. It gave him so much, right?
Yeah. He liked the fame. He liked the fighting, like I said earlier.
Yeah. What a character. God, I loved him. I mean, people say, fuck what people say. I just love the guy. I loved him. Sometimes Gary would come to me and go...
I can't believe... What?
Gary would come to me sometimes, and he would say, Howard, how can you put this guy on? He's ungrateful. I go... Gary, that's what's so great about him. Right. He's not sitting there sucking somebody's dick for airtime. He's like, it's just unbelievable.
There's nobody that's dealt that hand in life that is like, fuck you to the rest of the world. Yeah, they're usually a little giving, a little meekish, something, you know?
No, not him. Gary, you had a love-hate relationship with Eric, didn't you? I mean, I did. And more hate than love, because
you know what? I feel actually good. First of all, I know he was really mad at me this last week because I gave him a hard time about the ALS challenge, but I always saw it as like ball breaking, meaning like I didn't go home and say to my family, I hate Eric. Like it was here, I would fuck with him, and then I just left it there. And I love tweaking him, there's no doubt about it. But when I spoke to him last year off the air about coming to the birthday show, which, by the way, he fucked up as well, I thought I had a good conversation with him, and I thought we were sort of in a good place. But yeah, I like breaking his balls, and he did get under my skin.
You didn't like Eric, though. You genuinely didn't like him. You would really get him.
Can I tell a story? This is where it turned for me. I always liked him, and I felt for him. And so he asked me once, could you get me into the American Idol show in Sacramento? So I remember talking to you, and you said, hey, if you can help the guy out. So I had to call a friend of a friend who ran the venue. You know, it was not an easy thing to do. So if Eric asked me on a Tuesday morning, I immediately went to work on it. When I came in Thursday morning, he had left me this vicious voicemail. Listen, you fucker, if you're fucking around with me, I will fucking get you. And I called him back, and I go, Eric, I'm trying to help you. Like, I got other work to do.
Right.
But that's who he was.
Yeah. And it would drive you nuts because you felt he was unappreciative. But what I loved about him, Gary, which I always had to explain myself to Gary, because Gary would say, how can you do this? He's driving me crazy. I can't stand this guy. I said, but it's the greatest. It's so fucking great because Eric, by all accounts, with his afflictions and everything he had going on, you would think he would be this meek guy. Like you said, Shuli, he wasn't. He was a guy who would mix it up and be ornery. It was crazy the way he was. He'd yell at you if you were trying to help him.
Yeah. No, he wanted no... He wanted no favors. He was entitled to shit. And you better give it to him.
That's why I feel like Jan must have had like such a wild time with him. I mean, because as much as Jan helped him, he probably got yelled at too.
Oh, just last week, I have a voicemail from Eric calling Gary an ape face for calling him a liar about ALS.
Oh my God! Oh.
And then Johnny and him would come up with this craziest, most outlandish shit to come up with to call in the show about.
But the thing I love most about that is Eric, at his core, was such a good guy that when you finally get him on the spot, you're like, dude, come clean. What's going on with this? And he'd go, all right.
Yeah,
he wouldn't bullshit you to your face for too long.
Yeah, he was good. One of my favorite moments, Jan, was when Eric decided to go out on his own. He started with Johnny, his own internet radio station, and it was all Eric was the linchpin of this whole thing. And Eric's show, when we would play back Eric's show, it was the greatest thing ever.
Dad wanted to know, I believe, what your last movie that you went to go see. What movie was that?
Yeah, which I didn't go see. I didn't go see it.
I didn't see it. What was that about?
It was a show about American Idol. It was a wrap-up show for American Idol, and
show done in a well.
It was so great.
No matter what they did, Eric was the one you couldn't hear.
It just went on, and it was always weird technical difficulties.
Eric, are you mad at Johnny for not following orders and calling into the Stern Show last Thursday?
Well, it was really not any orders. When I made this statement that I made the other day,
you couldn't write this stuff.
I knew Johnny wasn't calling in anymore. I was basically.
You couldn't write this stuff.
Oh, it was amazing.
That's a great question.
Yeah. Oh, Jan, it was unbelievable, right? And then there was one point Eric then Eric gave up on the American Idol show. He decided to have a country music show. And the country music show, the problem was the music was louder than Eric.
That was Jules' debut.
He's doing a talk-up right now. She's crazy.
A demo on how not to do a radio show.
Oh, my God. I would say, Eric, we can't hear you. It didn't matter.
Like Christopherson would do.
Got a cold feet and my left I got a lot wearing band. I've been wearing
He's talking.
around now.
But there was that long gap. He couldn't get started.
He loved country music, right, Jan? That was his thing.
Yeah, that was his main music he liked.
Oh, he
liked a little bit, I guess you could say, pop and R&B.
He loved it all. He loved pop stars. He loved following the charts. He was great. I mean, good Lord.
I loved it when he would call you and give you advice because now you were a judge and he knew all of these shows.
Oh my God.
He evaluated your performance.
He was the only whackpacker that I would get bummed when he was mad at me. We only had one real big fight.
What was your fight about?
This was years ago.
That was the laying down thing.
Yeah, this was years ago. We were doing a show somewhere, and he came out to the show, was a part of it with us. And at one point, Jan took him out of his chair backstage and laid him on a couch, much like this couch here. And Eric was laying on his side, like it just looked like this Playgirl pose of him laying on the couch. So they took a picture. I'm like, hey, can you send me that picture? And I ended up putting it on my MySpace as my profile picture, and Eric flipped out.
Yeah, because Eric told him as long as you don't post it nowhere. And
it was such an awesome picture. I couldn't resist. And he started texting me. He goes, you balding Jew asshole pothead.
When Eric was pissed off at you, it was unbelievable. Yeah. Like, I'm thinking back to all the time Eric was pissed off. But what was great was, I guess, on the air, Fred or somebody had said that Eric talks slowly and grunts when he talks.
Yeah.
And Eric just was beside himself.
So you're fucking abundantly clear with each and every person. Let me start over. Let me get something fucking abundantly clear with everyone who listens to this fucking show. I do not fucking glut when I talk. And I do not talk slowly. Do you hear me talking fucking slowly right now, motherfuckers? I talk at a normal rate of fucking speed. And I do not grunt when I talk. Shut the fuck up.
Oh my God! Hey, well, he gets mad at you, and then Eric would get mad at Fred because Fred would play the sound effects behind them. It was just,
always loved that.
Yeah.
I'm not giving that shithead credit for shit.
Well,
Even if he deserves it, is what
I think you're making a mistake. I don't think that's fair to Steve.
Him covering the story helped you.
Really?
I hate Langford. I want you to fire his dumb shitty ass.
Why? Because he has a huge penis? Right.
Well, why do you hate Steve?
He helped you.
He's helping you.
0 point.
Are you saying you don't want any help?
Fred, you push that button one more time. I'm going to fight in New York.
What?
0.0.
I'll meet you at JFK.
Eric could fight with the best of them, and he loved it. I don't even know what he said to you there, Fred. He was like, gonna do something.
I think he said
He was just mad because, like, I always interject these little things, and he says, I'm going to break you. I'm flying to New York. I'm going to break your fucking fingers.
Is that what he said?
Yeah.
Jan?
It was beautiful. That was so pure.
Yeah, you almost felt like good if Eric was angry with you because it meant you'd arrived or something.
He was alive in those moments.
And by the way, I don't want to paint Eric as always being angry. There were times Eric could be downright sweet when he'd leave his message for the happy holidays.
Hey, this is Eric the actor. I wanted to leave this little Christmas message. So I just wanted to say, happy holidays to everyone. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I've heard about your new 5-year, $400 million contract. Congratulations with that, and hope that you continue to entertain your fans for the next 5 years. Also, thank you for taking my call for the last 8 years plus. All right? So, again, happy holidays and Merry Christmas to everyone.
I tell you, I love Eric the actor. Gonzo, you were always.
You know what I would? Oh, Gonzo,
you were always involved with something with Eric. You and Eric were always going at it. What do you want to say?
I just want to give my condolences. I don't want to make it, any bullshit. I'm just really sad. I'm like really broken up about it.
Hey, Gonzo.
Yeah.
Isn't it a little too late to come and start saying all this stuff and turning your Twitter page around?
Yeah, and I mean, even when Eric was alive, I never really did that much. I never really, fucked with Eric that much. I just, it was
the
a
worst
good
one.
fun.
Since he got on, the worst one is Pollyanna Haas, or whatever you want to call her name, the nurse practitioner that she supposedly took care of her patients, but was able to send people to her house on Craigslist and all this stuff all day long harassing. She has the nerve to harass Eric 24/7, then ask for the obituary and ask to come to the funeral. That was the last person Eric would want to have anything of his.
Gonzo, you said this is officially your last phone call to us.
Well, regarding Eric, yes.
Well, Howard, Eric's last voicemail to me, literally his last request is that Gonzo never gets on the air again.
Is that right?
Yeah.
But I sense that Eric, as much as he didn't like Gonzo, I think Eric liked the three-ring circus of guys like Gonzo fucking with him all the time. Jan, am I wrong about this?
Oh, no, he liked the fighting part.
Yeah.
But he hated the people that he was fighting with.
Right.
And in my defense, by the way, I never really said that, mean things about Eric. It was always Eric starting wildfires or Eric's.
Right, it was absurd stuff.
Right,
Yeah. It was just to have fun with Eric. And I was truly, devastated when I heard the news from Frado. And it was just, my condolences. And Jan, my sincerest condolences to you. I really do feel I'm shaken up about it.
All right, Gonzo, thank you for the call.
All right, thank you, Howard.
Right.
Anybody.
Yes, Jan.
For anybody that thought Eric was incompassionate and selfless and all that, he did that on the show, but the last thing Gonzo did that pissed off him so bad was all on me. It wasn't even about Eric, really. It was on me.
Yeah, because sometimes it could go too far.
Gonzo calling into a gay, black gay relationship show as me saying that he was getting abused by Eric. And Eric was 2 foot tall. And Eric, I worked for Eric for 15 years, which was all bullshit. And anybody that knows the truth knew that was bullshit.
Well, that's the best part of
it. Yeah,
Eric.
well, I mean, no one ever believed anything Gonzo did. I mean, it was absurd, yeah.
But he would get the whole premise wouldn't upset Eric. Just one little fact that Gonzo got wrong would upset Eric.
Hansy, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hello?
Yes.
What's going on, man?
Well, you know what's going on. Eric has died, and Eric was our friend, and we loved Eric.
I know. I didn't mean literally what's going. Okay, I just want to say I'm gonna miss Eric. What the call? He was like one of my favorite parts of the show, and one of my favorite memories is when like he got mad at Jimmy Kimmel because Jimmy Kimmel said that his hand was like a soft peach or some shit. Like
he said he shook Eric's hand. It was like a rotten plum.
Yeah, that's what it was.
And then Eric got so pissed off at Jimmy. It was so great. But Jimmy, I have to say something because I know Jimmy off the air, and Jimmy Kimmel, Hansy, and Jan and everyone else. Jimmy Kimmel was literally the biggest Eric the Actor fan. So big that I know that Jimmy regularly gave to his Amazon wish list. And that, yeah, and Jimmy was just fascinated by his phone calls. One of the first emails I got when it was, first of all, Jimmy started to write my wife. I was unavailable, and he said, "Tell me it's not true about Eric. Tell me it's not true." When he heard the news, he was devastated. And really, really devastated. I mean, he just adored him, and really said to me, it was weird because I guess we had been playing something of Eric's on Howard 101 while we were away, and he said I sat in my driveway for 20 extra minutes listening to Eric the Actor. I mean, Jimmy, is there a bigger Eric the Actor fan than you?
I don't think. Well, first of all, let me say what an honor it is to follow Hansy and Gonzo shitcocking, our little pal Eric. I really did love Eric. I mean, I don't know. I mean, he was, everything about him fascinated me, and I don't think I was the only one. There's so many great. And I don't think Eric would have liked to be called a whack packer, but there's so many great ones. And I think the fact that Eric had no respect for you whatsoever,
right,
is what I liked best about him. Because you sit there and talk to this tiny little guy in a wheelchair, and who lived with his parents and really didn't have a whole lot going on outside of watching wrestling and American Idol. And he would argue with you as if you were equals, and you would argue with him as if you were equals. And I guess you really were, because you both kind of took that position, and I just love that. I really do. I just
Jimmy,
love
I think
that.
you summed it up for me because, you're right. You think that a guy who had absolutely so little going on and really needed me for, trips to the Bunny Ranch or needed me for his fame fix, it didn't matter. What was so fascinating was he would just give me shit every single day and stand up to me.
But not only that, he'd give you advice.
But yeah,
that's what I love. He'd call you and give you advice.
And anybody else would have just been begging me and kowtowing to me because I had this power to put him on the air. But it was precisely that he didn't give me shit that made him great.
I've been listening since the 90s, Howard, and he is as he would say, the only normal caller that I would remember that fought so much with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
None of the other ones would fight so much with you.
Absolutely. Jimmy,
yes,
this really is devastating, isn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. I mean, it really is terrible. I was trying to explain this to my parents yesterday, and they had no idea what I was talking about. But I really, yes. But I had a lot of affection for the guy, and I just can't. It's so sad that he's not gonna call in anymore. I mean, there were many times where he said he wouldn't call in anymore, and that was part of the fun. The longer it would go, when you knew he was going to finally break down and call in because he'd be offered a bit part on some show, and or he'd have some reason that he'd have to break his vow and call, and that was always such. And the negotiations with the balloons. And
Jimmy, do you remember? I think the greatest moment was Eric had banned himself from the show. He said, "That's it. I'm never calling in again." And it had gone on for the longest time, like weeks, literally. We hadn't heard from Eric. And I remember sitting here on the air. I would be looking. How long did it last, Jan? 3 months?
3 months, I think.
3 months. So for 3 months, I hadn't heard from Eric, and I got really weirded out about it because, you know, I loved Eric's phone calls, and I thought, wow, maybe he's for real this time. Maybe we really lost him. I don't know. This sucks. But, of course, if I begged him to come back on, it wouldn't have been any good because then it just wouldn't work. It has to be Eric wanting to come back on. So,
and he was listening, too. He was texting me through that whole time.
And it was driving Eric crazy. So finally, one day, we get a call from a guy named Derek.
Right.
Derek from Texas.
Derek from Texas, who started calling in, and of course it was Eric. He could not disguise his voice. He put on a little bit of an accent. And
now that he's gone, we can reveal the secret.
Yeah, and I played along. I would just be Derek. You know Eric can never call in again, but you all talk to. And he's like, yeah, that's right.
Howdy, y'all.
Howdy, y'all. Derek, the actor, might have been my favorite of all time. And once in a while, he'd screw up and call himself Eric.
Right.
It was so
He'd
great.
lose the accent in the middle of the sentence.
Jimmy, what was your favorite Eric, the actor moment?
Turned out he had a lot in common with Derek. With Eric, the midget Derek from Texas.
Yeah, they were almost the same guy. They both wanted to be actors. They both wanted acting parts. It was great. What was your favorite remembrance of?
Well, for me, it was the balloons. I mean, you know that off here I became obsessed with the idea of flying Eric with balloons, and almost to the point where I think I was pestering you about it.
You were.
There was no price I was unwilling to pay to get to make that happen. And it still amazes me that after all the pressure that we put on him collectively, really to do something that wasn't such a big deal, but that he said no, and he just wouldn't do it. And
he would say no matter what they would offer.
Yeah, he really would.
But what was great about it was there was no way we were going to fly him with balloons. Like there was no way, but just telling Eric he was going to fly with balloons. Because first of all, the idea of attaching balloons to a wheelchair and getting him up in the air in the studio. And then I really had this horrible panic that we fly Eric with balloons and he flew out our window up here. And
we never see him again.
He'd be on the 36th floor and he'd just be flying around for the rest of his life. I was more afraid of flying Eric with balloons than Eric was.
And I would call him off air and offer him things just to gauge like how against it he was. There was nothing you could offer this guy that would make him agree to
And
that.
when Jimmy says that he pestered me, I was not flying Eric with balloons ever. But Jimmy was serious about it. And he goes, no, we can do this. You got to make it happen. You got to make it happen. And literally, I'd say 2 or 3 emails a day for a while from Jimmy about flying Eric with balloons.
I studied it. I figured out how many balloons it would take, and that it was indeed possible. But well, you know what? I really admire him for not doing it. He had so much self-esteem for a person who, you know, if it's a lot of people who have everything don't have any self-esteem, and he really, I mean, he knew he was great.
Jimmy, he loved life. Jan, am I right? I mean, Eric, despite all of his pain, all of the predictions of his early death, all this stuff, he loved life. The way he embraced wrestling and he embraced the show and he loved it. I wish everyone had a love of life like Eric did.
Well, I'll say a couple things about Jimmy. The one thing when it come up about when did he meet Jimmy the first time, the one thing he would bring up the most was the first time he realized Jimmy was really a fan and was really cool was the first time we went to the studio. We were about 6 blocks away, and he sent his cousin Mickey after us to give Eric a jersey from the Sacramento Kings. And Eric would bring that up a lot when he talked about Jimmy.
Yeah, you know, Eric was grateful, believe it or not. Yes.
And then he, I guess you could say, used Jimmy. Jimmy, I don't know, you guys probably remember when I believe it was Jimmy that set up the visit with the ABC executive, and
Rob Mills. Rob Mills.
Yeah, Jimmy was behind that.
That he would fight with balloons if he did that, and then when he got there, Robert Mills asked him, "When are you going to fly?" And he told Robert Mills, "No, I'm not going to fly."
He lied. Here's a remembrance. This is a little bit of Derek from Texas, Eric's alter ego.
Hey there, Mr. Frotto. I'm leaving this message for you to give to those Stern people because, you know, I've really been thinking about it. I don't like them at all. They're a bunch of dumb fucks. They don't treat little people nicely.
That was
sound anything like
after
her.
months of not being on the air. This guy shows up, Derek from Texas, and I'm dealing with Derek from Texas.
They'll never know.
Jimmy, it's a sad day. It really is, and
It is.
we're never going to hear the little guy call in again. And it just seems. And you know, there was a whole new chapter starting. The new Eric the actor without Jan having to live with his parents. And
Right, and we didn't know how that was going to play out.
Well, I heard that, and I did feel really bad for him when I heard that story. And I have to say, God bless Jan for taking care of him, because that is a big job, and I think that I wish there were more people like that. That's a pretty great thing.
Jimmy, I know that yes, Jan, and I said this earlier to Jan. I said there's nobody with a more loving heart for Jan to devote his life. And now Jan's got to go take care of his parents in the way he took care of Eric. I said this is a guy who gives like nobody I've ever seen. I mean, it's just fucking remarkable. Really remarkable.
Yeah. It really is. It really is. And, I think I'm thinking of one other Eric memory when he wanted Johnny Fratto to murder the guy who was mean to him in high school.
Yeah, we played the tape. We played the tape. It's so great because Johnny goes, "This kid's a gangster." He gave him the order to hit him. That's it.
He knew what to do. He knew what to do.
You know what? I'm trying to remember, because Howard, you tried to stop talking to Eric at one time. You said that you would never take another phone call, and you broke down quickly.
Oh, my God. Are you kidding? I couldn't refuse calls from Eric.
Eric's self-ban lasted longer than any of the ones Howard banned him.
That's right.
Eric would ban himself. And I go, Eric, you can't ban yourself. You're punishing yourself. You love the air. He's going to do it. It never lasted.
But once you did it, and you didn't last any time at all.
No, you can't. You couldn't stay away from Eric. I'm telling you. Jimmy, you should fly with balloons to honor Eric, I think.
You know what? I think there should be, I'd like to see a sculpture built in the park of Eric attached to balloons, and it's something that we could really remember him by. I mean, we got to figure something out to memorialize
honor him.
Well, you know, it's funny. Somebody on the internet I saw this morning painted a picture of Eric flying into heaven. Heaven's gates were open, and he was in balloons in his wheelchair. And I'm telling you, I almost lost it. I really did. It was so beautiful. This little cartoon of Eric flying to the pearly gates.
Yeah, I think if God demanded Eric fly with balloons into heaven, he would have told him to fuck off.
I know. You know, it's funny. You know, Eric, he's such an unusual guy, or was such an unusual guy, because I still can't help but thinking that a guy in a wheelchair and a guy as sick as he was, if there really is a God, I can imagine that Eric wouldn't wake up every day cursing out God for doing this to him. And Eric had none of that. Jan, did he ever complain about his condition? Did he ever sit there and
why me?
Because he was an excellent representative for people who are full-bodied, who are able-bodied, who really complain about everything. He didn't seem to complain about his lot in life.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, remember also he's the only one with a condition in his family.
Yeah.
You know, everybody else
was
fine.
Able-bodied and tall and
the recipe's there for him to be super bitter.
Wouldn't it be great, Jimmy, if Eric got 70 naked Carrie Underwoods in heaven? Like that was...
Oh, yeah, Diana DeGarmo.
Oh, Diana DeGarmo. Oh, if Eric could have just had one night with Diana DeGarmo.
I said, this guy...
what was great was Eric got her mother's phone number, and he used to call her.
She had to change her phone number. He used to call. I'd say, Eric, you're calling too much. He goes, no. I go, did you call yesterday? Yeah.
Jackass. How many times did you call? Like 5? He goes, no, 4. And the mother finally gave up, changed her number. It was fucking great.
The thing he loved more than the show, more than anything else, was giant boobs.
Yes.
So when we would be on the road and he would do shows with us, I would ask for volunteers to come up to let him let Eric motorboat him. And this is what a guy he was. I go, I threw this idea out one night. I said, what about dressing you up like Superman? And we literally hold you up and fly you into the breast. And he looked at me and he goes, no Superman, but you could fly me into the breast. And so literally Jan was on stage holding him. And I mean, the shots of his face sliding into breasts one after, and I mean, 10 chicks lined up.
He loved it.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah, a lot of dignity.
With him? What?
That was the last 2 shows he ever did.
Yeah.
Wow. What was his thing about costumes? Because that was always a big deal. You could never, once
please.
Johnny
He
had a
wanted
job for him to be in a bumblebee costume or
he
something,
wasn't
and
doing
Eric
that.
refused.
Eric had his dignity, like Jimmy said.
Not some clown.
Fucking footed, you moron.
Oh my God! When Eric would get upset about club fucking footed, that was another. I didn't even play that clip, and there's so many clips you could play, but this one is the best. By the way, I saw a picture of Eric. His foot is completely turned around. I don't know.
Well, he had an operation.
Yeah, he has sneakers on, and his foot is completely reversed.
Wow.
He's got so many problems. Eric, what's going on with your foot? Are you okay with your foot?
I'm double fucking jointed. There's nothing
There ain't no
wrong with my foot.
double jointed. That's quadruple jointed.
Part of my disability, you jackass.
All right, but that's why I'm asking.
There's nothing wrong.
There's nothing wrong with it. It's been that way.
All right, I was worried about you. Am I wrong to be worried about you?
I'm club fucking footed, you ass wipe.
I didn't know what you were. I said there might be something wrong. I love when he called me an asswipe.
But it was great how Eric would say there's nothing wrong. Everything was wrong.
Right.
This is one of the things I really love about the show, because I think almost everyone else, and really everyone else, if you have somebody who's handicapped or has something that's uncomfortable to talk about, you just won't talk about it, and you just be nice to that person. You won't speak to them like a human being. You just kind of let them go about their lives and not give them any attention. But that's like when people know each other, people are friends. They do talk about these things specifically, and to get that kind of stuff out in the open on the show is rare, and one of the things that I really love. And sometimes people are like, oh, we're making fun of Eric. It's like, yeah, of course, we're making fun of Eric. Everybody makes fun of everyone on the show. He's treated like anybody else on the show. And,
well, that was one of the things that I was most
He said plenty of times, and I'm pretty, that the show and Howard has the rights to make fun of him, but no fans have the right to make fun of him.
Well, he certainly fought that.
In real life.
Well, you know what, Jimmy and Jan, that I woke up this morning, Bob Lefsetz, who writes this column that I really like, he wrote a whole column on Eric the actor, and it was really touching. And he was talking about this point, that he learned more about Eric's, bathroom habits. Eric was very open, and Jimmy makes the point, too, that handicapped people, you really, they're sort of like untouchables. You don't know what's going on with them. People
Everybody's
avoid
afraid to do anything.
And Eric would really say, here, I jerk off, I roll onto the bed, I do that. Eric had a lot of pride, but also he was willing to talk about just how difficult his life was. Like he said, my last conversation with him, he was like, yeah, I bathe myself, but Jan has to help me with this and that. In fact, my last conversation was about you, Jan, because he was so upset that his parents were now going to be taking care of him.
Can I please say this last thing?
Okay.
It's Jan's last week of being here. He's going to leave on the 21st or 22nd.
Who's going to take care of you?
Who's going to help you? Yeah.
My parents.
Oh, that sucks.
Wow. We'll probably never hear from you again then.
What do you mean your parents?
Oh,
I mean,
no. I'll still call in.
Doesn't Jan bathe you and drive you and do everything?
The driving part, yes.
Oh, he doesn't bathe you?
No, I pretty much handle that myself.
Oh, okay.
Well, where's Jan going?
Yeah, why is he leaving?
He's got to do this do what he does for me for his parents in Arkansas.
Jan is a good dude. All right. Well, anyway, Jimmy, I like that you called in because I knew how big a fan you were of.
Yeah.
Can I ask you?
Well, thank you for bringing Eric to us, and Jan, thanks for taking care of him. And I guess I'm going to go fuck my pillow now and in tribute to Eric.
That's the best tribute you could give Jimmy if you just would lay down on your bed instead of jerking off on your back, jerk off on your stomach.
I'm going.
That would be the way. What is it?
I was going to ask you and Jimmy, did either of you cry at any point this weekend when thinking about Eric?
Did I cry? I didn't cry, but I got really, really sad.
Me too. I had weird feelings of going from, well, first of all, I didn't necessarily believe it because I thought it might be some kind of a publicity stunt, and I was hoping that was the case. I was searching the internet. Some guy posted that Eric had favorited a tweet the night before, and I thought, oh, well, if he did that, he has to be old.
It was a porn tweet, by the way, too.
Yeah, I didn't believe. By the way, I didn't believe that he had died at first, and I know Jimmy was looking for information. And I said, I don't know. This could be an elaborate hoax that Eric set up, just to
I hope it still is. I really do.
Yeah, Jan, if you told us it was a hoax, we'd be happy.
Jimmy, yes,
that was me on Saturday night. We announced it yesterday, but on Saturday night, where there was no fake ones about it, I went on his page and favorited some stuff. Because we were trying to keep it from off the internet till the weekend. So I told Howard.
Okay.
So that's because as soon as Eric had no activity on Twitter for 30 minutes, he was dead.
Wow. Well, all right, Jimmy, Jan. Jan, first of all, I want to thank you for calling in and telling us about Eric's final moments.
Let me tell you one more thing. Johnny will probably call in and talk about this too. If you pull up real quick, one thing that's kind of, I guess you could say, eerie, on the Facebook page for one of his fans' page on Facebook, he's sitting in front of Johnny's elevator, and there's angels on Johnny's elevator sitting above his head in the picture.
Do I have that picture?
Johnny has angels on his elevator?
Yeah. Pull up, and his initials. Pull up Eric's main Facebook page.
Okay. I'll definitely check that out. That's kind of eerie. All right, Jan, listen, I know how painful this is for you. You were closest to Eric, and you took such good care of him, and I got to tell you something. If there is a heaven, you're going to it, Jan. You can be sure of that. You're a good man. Jimmy Kimmel, you're a good man, too. You have a TV show, I understand. It's on at 11:30 at night. Everybody should tune in tonight.
You've heard of this?
I really only called in for a plug.
That's all Jimmy wants. Jimmy, by the way, will be flying with balloons on the Jimmy Kimmel show tonight in honor of Eric. He's going to actually fly out and deliver the entire monologue as he is floating into the sky.
There's another whackpacker that wants to go on Jimmy's show. You know about this?
Who is this?
Underdog.
Oh, yeah. Hey, Jimmy, you been following that?
There are no other whack packers as far as I'm concerned.
Today, you're right.
You're right. That's the perfect tribute. All right, Jimmy, Jan, thank you. I'm going to go take a commercial break. We've been talking about Eric for an hour, 14 minutes, and I suspect we'll be talking about him a lot more because I see our phones are filled with people who want to speak about him. Jan, thank you for reflecting with us. Jimmy Kimmel, Eric's #1 fan, thank you.
Take care.
You're welcome, and thank you.
Bye-bye, guys. There they go. Jan.
I can't believe Jimmy didn't cry. Jimmy cries over everything.
Jimmy cried over John Ritter. I would think if anyone was going to cry on the air about Eric, would be Jimmy. Yeah. Is anyone willing to cry on the air about Eric?
I thought I would. I lost a little bit on Saturday.
Marianne, are you crying?
Yes, I was, Howard. I cried all night and all morning, and little Mikey wrote a song that it doesn't make you get down on your knees and cry, but my cry turned to anger, Robin. I mean, how do you not know that it was trending on Twitter that Eric died?
I don't follow all of this stuff. I'm not living the life of a social media person. Sorry.
It's not a day to argue, but Howard, you gave him so much joy. In fact, I would be afraid to say, anything like Eric did to you, and you know that, and he said it to you, and, that was what we loved about him. He spoke the truth. Jan took such good care of him, and I just don't believe it. It's like,
all right, Marianne, thank you.
It's so sad, Howard. Howard, we know how much you really loved him and how much you meant to you. Robin, I don't know. It's going to trend. Robin doesn't know what's going on in the news.
All right, Mary.
You're right. I don't.
It always comes back to Robin.
Robin, get my number. You can call me. I'll give you all information if you need it.
Robin, you're disgraceful. Thank you.
Oh, my God.
How dare Robin not know about Eric the Actor?
For the record, Robin cried at VegFest when she was stuck there.
Oh, stop.
I'd cry if I was at VegFest.
Yeah, me too, like a baby.
Yeah, I don't even want to ask Robin about VegFest. That's how crazy.
There'd be one exciting thing at VegFest.
I got the confirmation that Eric was dead, and it's weird. I went and jerked off.
What?
People mourn in different ways. I guess.
That's how I deal with grief. Yeah, I went on YouPorn and watched and I said, I'm upset right now. This is horrible, but I feel like jerking off. And I wasn't going to deny myself jerking off because that's our right as American citizens.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I watched this was great, fake agent porn where this girl, really hot blonde, is running an agency and a guy comes in and she seduces him because she convinces him to be in porn.
The dialogue's the best part of those.
The best. Oh, my God. And the guy's like, I don't know. I don't want to get into porn, this and that. She goes, come on. And then she sits down next to him, starts rubbing his cock, and he's like, all right, I'll get into porn. And it's so great. And I came right when she was blowing him, so I didn't even get to see the ending.
I like when they go, look, they just have to see on video that I can fuck in the ass, and then you'll get the job.
And big money.
Right.
But
it's always big money, huh?
No, I was laying in bed last night. I'm watching TV. I couldn't get to sleep, and I realized it was because of Eric. Like, I was just, like, kind of upset that Eric was gone, and it really hit me hard when I laid down. I was watching Ray Donovan, which is such a great show. Oh, my God.
I know. That show is so crazy.
Oh, my God. I love that show so much. Ray Donovan. And
see our boy Jay Thomas on there?
Yeah, Jay.
Yeah, he was great.
Man, Jay was great. And it was just like... then it just I turned off the TV and I realized why I couldn't sleep. I was like, oh, fucking Eric is gone. It really hit me hard. I mean, everyone's dropping like flies and I hate being left. I'm so mad at Eric for leaving. They should have.
You know what? There were many times, Eric gave us a little scare not too long ago saying he might have to go into the hospital. And we were so worried. And, when he said, no, that wasn't, necessary, they were going to give him another 6 months before they evaluated the situation again. We thought we had more time.
Yeah.
He used to fight with a lot is Jeff the Drunk. And Jeff and him, there was a great, we use it for a bumper, but inside the actor's studio, when they go back and forth and answer the same 10 questions,
great.
And they get at it,
Eric was upset because Johnny Fratto was starting to represent Jeff the Drunk because Jeff was willing to take gay roles and Eric wasn't.
But that's the other thing. Literally 2 weeks ago, I'm having this argument with him where he's like, I want the homophobic stuff to stop.
What does this mean? On Twitter right now, Bye For Now is number 2. What do they mean, number 2?
The hashtag Bye For Now is trending. It's number 2 on Twitter right now.
Bye For Now. Oh, that was Eric's favorite phrase, Bye For Now. And, Eric resisted Bye For Now. That was his catchphrase, and it was really catching on, actually. I mean, it was really impressive.
Yeah, as soon as we started to notice it, he stopped doing it.
Yeah, we loved it. And then, as Robin says, as soon as I like Bye For Now, then Eric wouldn't do Bye For Now. It was always Bye For Now. What was that?
He just went bye. Couldn't even do his catchphrase.
Where's your catchphrase?
Not gonna do it.
Oh, he's holding out the catchphrase.
You dropped your catchphrase?
Yep.
Why?
Are people teasing you about that too?
Yeah, they're using that in our messages.
Bye For Now. Don't drop your catchphrase.
You stick with it.
Now say your catchphrase.
All right, bye for now.
See that reporter I called? Crap, don't let the bunnies out.
The Actors Studio is proud to welcome
Eric the Actor.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
What you did in that film was remarkable for so many reasons.
Yeah, I guess from watching that.
What's your favorite word?
Bullshit.
What's your least favorite word?
Ack.
What turned you on?
I've been a Jeff Hardy fan for quite a while.
My name's Kevin Stevens, and I'm an actor here.
Get the fuck away from me, you idiot. He comes anywhere near me, I'll break his wrist. Stay the fuck away from me. Just back the fuck off me, or else you will fucking regret it.
To Broadway, Eric the Actor's tweets, the opera. I do not shit myself. I do not shit on myself. I've never once crapped myself when I was at the A's game. Go fuck yourself and go to hell, you fucking dipshit. Combining opera's most beloved arias with Eric's majestic poetry. I am not gay. I have never fucked you in my life. Experience the passion. You don't fuck. I do not have cum on my glasses. The excitement. I am not a bug-eyed toad. Go fuck yourself, you pathetic, motherfucking dumb fuck dipshit. The fury. I am not fucking bipolar. I do not have a fucking lazy eye. Go fuck yourself. For tickets, use the hashtag ACAC.
All right, a couple of memories of Eric. We've spent an hour and a half on Eric, and I would gladly spend another hour and a half because he deserves it. Yes, Johnny Frado.
You know, the impact will really hit me when, after a while, I realize we're never going to hear an Eric call. It'll never pop up again where we say, well, Eric the Actor's on the phone.
Johnny Frado, you're on with Yam. Yes.
Yeah, it's so bad. It's so bad. And, you know, it's a weird, because of the way he acted, you know, it almost, I mean, we should have all kind of been prepared for this, but we weren't. Because he acted like he was bulletproof, you know?
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
I knew he was ill, and I knew that he wouldn't last long, and he had defied all of the doctor's predictions. But at the same point, I always thought that Eric would just beat the odds and live forever.
Yeah, but you know what, Howard, you were the medicine. Howard Stern Show was the medicine, and I believe that you guys extended his life. And obviously, I mean, no question, no one could argue that you gave him a great life. You gave him a better life, really, than a lot of people that aren't afflicted.
People used to say to me, "Are you making fun of Eric?" I go, "No." I said, "I treat Eric like everyone else. I do not want to treat him differently." And I think Eric liked that. I think Eric liked mixing it up.
But you provided a lot of things for him to do, and those were the things that he loved, and that's what kept him alive. But the reality is, and when I laughed, you know, because he would be always after one of you. And it would be Robin, or it would be you, or it would be Fred with the noises, or Gary, you know, or Will.
Gary, yeah.
Something wrong on the phone. And, you know, he would call me, and he would always, you know, he was always going to get even, or he was always going to beat you.
Yeah,
I mean, I think this is why I stuck around, because, you know, here's a kid that, like you said earlier, I mean, he can't walk, he can't use his hands, he can't make a sandwich, for Christ's sake.
Right.
Or use the restroom, or take a bath. But here he is with confidence that it doesn't even, where did it come from? Where did all that confidence come from? Where did the courage come from, you know?
So you stuck around with Eric because you stuck around with Eric because I think you genuinely liked him. I think you were fascinated by him.
Howard, I wanted to hate him so badly.
Right.
I really, truly did, and I ended up loving the fucking kid.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you, I'm heartbroken.
Yeah, me too. I love when he told you
He was entitled. He was entitled from, if you want to believe in. I think this fucker was some kind of an evil ruler in another time. And they said, go back to Earth. And this is what you're going to be, because the body didn't fit the brain.
Right.
What was going on in the brain didn't fit in the body.
There's so much,
me and John for Glock.
There's so much suffering going on in the world, and this is a guy who really, no matter how much he was suffering, you're right, he was like Genghis Khan. I mean, he was going to conquer the world.
He did not care, and he didn't care, and he didn't see himself as handicapped. So when he saw girls, we'd be pushing him down the street, and he would immediately say, "Wheel me up to that girl," and he would do his best.
I really love that. Johnny, I do want to say, before I run out of time, Johnny, I do want to say this to you, and Jan is numero uno, and you're numero two, because you... really, it was so great that you acted as his manager, and you took his calls, and you treated him seriously, and you would make arrangements for him. I mean, it was a major pain in the ass in Johnny's life. Johnny's got a family, and he runs a business and all that. And to sit there and take incessant, one phone call after another, over and over and over again from little Eric.
Oh, Howard, you had no idea. I mean, hundreds, really sometimes 40, 50 calls a day.
Wow.
And any time of the day or night, he didn't care that Johnny had a life, a business. Any time of the day or night,
and then he would do time limits on everything. Like, in other words, like he wanted to get late, and he knew he couldn't go to the Bunny Ranch, and I didn't know that. I heard it on your show, but then he talked about the altitude, but I heard that first, and I'm thinking, are you fucking kidding me? I mean, now it's like, I have to find sea level to get you fucking,
yeah, it's not hard enough.
It was always like some impossible thing, and then he would put a time on it. Like, you got 2 hours to do this, or you got 3 hours to do this.
Hey, he knew he was running out of time, so he had to definitely put a time limit on it. That's it. Johnny, thank you. Johnny, thank you, and Jan, thank you if you're on the line there. And guys, Johnny, I thought it was great the way you had interaction with Eric, and I know you are heartbroken. I know he was you considered him family. I know that.
I loved him.
I know.
And the guy on the phone here, this Jan. Yeah, that's a man's man. That's a man's man, Howard. The way he took care of this kid.
Right.
That I never see nobody care so much.
Well,
ever.
You're absolutely right. That's
no one will ever do that for me. I promise you.
I feel that about Jan, and I feel Eric was a bit heartbroken because he loved Jan so much, and I got to tell you, Jan, you're a stand-up dude, and I really mean that, and I think the world of you. And Johnny, same. And now maybe you can finally pay attention to your kids now that Eric is gone. If anything good comes out of this, Johnny will now pay attention to his kids because he was more wrapped up in Eric's life than his own children.
Oh, the other thing, I don't know if you guys could tell when he called into the show, the other thing he was super stressed and worried about was the surgery. He was pretty sure it was going to happen in November, and nobody knew what the outcome of that would be.
Maybe if they'd done that surgery, maybe he could have lived a little longer. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Howard, I don't think he would have ever made it to it.
No, because he was so sick.
He was way too frail. I think he was way too frail.
Yeah. All right, Jan. Let us know how you're doing from time to time. Johnny, of course, we'll hear from you. And thanks, guys. And I'm so sorry that Eric's gone. All right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thank you again.
Right. Well, there they are. The two guys closest to Eric, Jan and Johnny Fratto, who was his longtime manager, believe it or not.
Some of those negotiations were priceless as well, that Johnny would have to go through for Eric's various activities.
I should have asked Jan. I mean, who's going to clean out Eric's stuff? You know, like what happens to Eric's chair? What happens to Eric's memorabilia? All his little, his A's, his beloved A's, the hats.
Yeah, and I think he collected a lot of autographs and all of that stuff.
Like, what are they doing with all that? I wonder if Jan's a part of that.
Well, he said he was staying there a week longer. He's probably helping.
Yeah. Well,
I wonder what the WWE is feeling. You know, they've lost one of their biggest supporters.
Eric Lynch, Eric the actor. Some knew him as Eric the midget. He didn't like that, so we changed it to Eric the actor. But, you know, he complained, and he was great. He was no bigger than 4 feet tall, but boy, oh boy, did he have a big presence on this show. And he didn't have the looks, he didn't have the strong body, but he had a mind on his shoulders that I think people will never forget. And he really did teach us a lot.
I love that Johnny said he'd have them roll him right up to any beautiful woman he saw, and he'd take his shot.
That's right. He tried to find things in life that mattered to him and go after them, and Eric lived life. You know, most of us wouldn't have the balls to ask for a free pass to a whorehouse, but Eric did. And maybe that was the secret to life. Who knows?
Look, who demands to be on TV shows and then gets his way?
Always got his way. You know, Eric needed a lot of help. He really did. He needed my help getting acting jobs. He needed help from the government getting oxygen and medical supplies. He needed Jan, of course. He needed Johnny. He needed his parents. He needed free stuff from Amazon. But, I mean, he had a wish list for some of the most ridiculous shit that you've ever seen. He wanted, on his wish list, for real, the big book of boobs, an Eric Chavez action figure from the Oakland A's. He wanted a case. That's 24 bottles of Dr. Brown's cream soda. He wanted every flavor and size of Gatorade that you can imagine. He wanted pellet pistols, blank guns.
Pellet. That's right. He loved guns.
What's a Little Debbie zebra cake? He wanted that, too. I don't even know that.
It's a brand of cake. Little Debbie's is a brand.
He even wanted batting gloves, and I don't know why. He was in a wheelchair. I don't get it.
He's going on the batting cage.
Yeah. And even more bizarrely, he wanted the Sony headphones, the Simon Cowell edition Sony headphones.
The Simon Cowell edition.
Yeah. Some knew him as Eric this, Eric that. We'll know him as Eric the Angel now. We're going to change his name. Eric the Little Belligerent Angel.
Well, now we're getting quite a few representatives up there from our whack pack.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've lost quite a few people.
Would you say that Eric, Gary and I were just talking about this, would you say that Eric, was Hank the Angry Dwarf a bigger impact on the show, or Eric?
Oh, wow.
That's a tough one.
That's a good question.
I said possibly Eric. I mean, Hank, was right up there.
Hank was amazing.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. I think I'm calling that even.
Right. Well, I want to thank Kelly Clarkson this morning because she's the reason I found Eric.
Yes.
Eric
Thank
was
goodness
in love
you
with
called her fat.
That's right. If I hadn't called her fat,
we'd have never met Eric.
The ball never would have started. The ball never would have started rolling. He was 85 pounds. And I think anywhere between 3 and 3.5 feet tall. I never really figured it out. But you can't judge a book by its cover. Because too often in life, we pass by little guys like that in wheelchairs, or we give them a tap on the head or something, treating them like they're 3 years old. And Eric didn't want any of that. He had a rich life, and it was filled with bitterness and triumph and agony and all that kind of stuff. And through his own little devices, Jimmy Kimmel became friends with him, and Natalie Maines adored him, and Hollywood producers and directors put him in TV shows, and his obituary is even in Variety magazine and Us magazine.
Yeah. Zac Efron called him out for the Ice Bucket Challenge. Look at that.
And like Joan Rivers, even though, when Joan Rivers died, it was a shock to us. Even though we knew, she was 81 years old, how much longer could she live? And like with Eric, you knew he wasn't going to live forever, but it still comes as a shock that he's dead.
Yeah.
It really
and it's
does.
just like Johnny Fratto said, it was because he always fought back with such a vengeance. He never seemed or sounded frail. He didn't feel frail. And so we always believed he'd be around.
God, he loved wrestling. I don't think there was much left on his bucket list. He did get out and do a lot of stuff. We even got him laid.
He went to the matches. He met the wrestlers. And he did. He got laid. He had never had that experience before encountering this show.
That's right. I also loved how delusional he was. We were having Jonah Hill on the show, and he actually sent us a direct message that was, I know Jonah Hill's coming on, and that he's a fan of mine. If he wants to talk, please call me. That was a message from Eric about Jonah Hill. I don't know that Jonah Hill ever called, though. Who knows?
I don't know, but Jonah did remember him.
Yep. And I guess Eric's last acting job is Brickleberry. Brickleberry. He's on the cartoon.
Oh, yes. And you know what? Last week, wasn't Yucko calling to say they might cut Eric out of the show?
Yes. I got annoyed with Yucko for that. I said, you knew what Eric sounded like. Don't cut him out. What, it shocks you that Eric speaks the way he does?
Terrible.
Come on.
You know what we didn't play? Remember those times we would have an American Idol contestant that he was a fan of call him and try sex talking with him?
Oh, man, there's so many things I could have played. I played a bunch of stuff this morning, but, I could play you 3,000 tapes, 3,000 hours. Well, as the days and weeks go by,
we will remember.
We'll remember Eric. But my favorite story was Eric and the werewolves in New Mexico. So that's, we all have our own favorite moments. Let me see if there's anything else. There was a bunch of fans on the phone. I'll get to them as much as I possibly can. I do have to take another break, though, first. There's other things on people's minds besides Eric the actor. We'll try to get to those as well. But, Wolfie, I see you've been on the phone all morning. What do you want to say about Eric the actor?
Hey, Howard. I just wanted to say I'm really bummed. Eric was just a really good dude. I was actually talking to him a lot over the past 2 months over the telephone, and just the kind of stuff that he would share. He had a big heart, and I know he was really mad about Gary and denying that Eric contributed to ALS, but Eric even told me about other charities that he gave to. So he really was a good guy.
Right. All right, Wolfie. Thank you.
Yeah, he gave me some facts about just his general routine, and I was always curious if you'd be interested to know about some of that stuff that he did on a daily basis.
Sure, go ahead.
How many times per day do you think Eric brushed his teeth?
I'm going to say he probably wasn't that fastidious. I'm going to say 3 times a day.
Now, 1 time per day.
That's it.
Yep, he said he was just really bad about remembering that thing.
He would do it in the morning?
He didn't say when, because he only woke up around noon every day, so I would guess it would be later on in the afternoon.
How did that come up in conversation? You just asked him?
Yeah, I was talking to him for a while, and then he would just start saying stuff, and I'm like, man, I got to document this and remember it, so I would just kind of write down interesting things. Like, what do you think Eric's greatest fear in life was?
Drowning.
No, venomous snakes.
Not werewolves?
No, not werewolves. And that always cracked me up, because when would Eric ever encounter a venomous snake?
Well, maybe when he went to New Mexico to tape In Plain Sight.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, maybe that was his fear.
Yeah, he's just a fascinating guy. The stuff that he would come up with would always...
Yeah, give me more. This is good, Wolfie.
Okay, if Eric could have any career of an actor, which actor would he want?
Johnny Depp.
Not even close.
Let me think. Jack Nicholson.
No, it would be The Rock.
Think about the things that Eric is into, though, and that'll help you.
What about Robin says The Rock? Maybe that's it.
Nope.
Who is it?
Matthew Perry.
Oh, my God, from Friends?
Matthew Perry?
And the reason was he was in a movie called The Whole 9 Yards, where he stood in a room with Amanda Peet when she was naked. So he got to see that. That's why Eric would want his career.
That's the kind of thinking that I loved about Eric. Like, he didn't think about the roles of a lifetime or anything. He thought about, like, standing in a room naked with Amanda Peet.
Yeah, he was a guy's guy. He really was.
Yeah. What else you got there? Anything else?
Oh, yeah, there's a bunch. What was Eric's favorite fast food restaurant?
I'm going to say Wendy's. I got to get one of these right.
Taco Bell.
It's a place you guys used to love.
Roy Rogers?
Roy Rogers?
Oh, actually, no, sorry. It was Arby's. Arby's was his favorite.
Yeah, we didn't love Arby's.
No, we didn't. No, Arby's wasn't our thing.
What did he get? What did he get? The roast beef sandwich?
He liked the hot ham and Swiss, the chicken bacon and Swiss, the chicken cordon bleu, the curly fries, mozzarella sticks, onion rings, and chicken strips. Those are all
my goodness.
Didn't he, at one point, wasn't he following on Twitter some of the fast food restaurants like McDonald's?
Yeah, I believe he was, yeah.
And, a part of,
Cinnabon
he followed. But what it's funny, you'd think Eric would have been a little bit more of a healthy eater, but I guess he didn't give a shit.
How many times per week did he eat fast food?
He wasn't in actual good shape for a little guy 3 foot tall. I mean, he wasn't fat. How many times a week did he eat fast food? This has got to be a big number.
He told me on average.
7 times.
3 times.
Yeah, I bet you it was 7.
But what did he eat otherwise? Did Jan cook?
I know what his favorite snack food was.
I'm going to say, Pringles?
You got it right.
You're kidding. I knew that.
How did you know that?
From his Amazon wish list.
Yeah, that was his favorite snack food.
No wonder Eric had stomach problems. Eating all that shit.
Yeah, Jan was talking about how he had stomach problems. Listen to what he ate.
Yeah, if I was taking care of Eric, I'd just be like, well, Eric, why don't you fucking stop eating all that shit?
What was his favorite food overall?
I'm going to say some Italian dish, either pizza or spaghetti.
Nope, bacon.
Oh, wow.
He did not hesitate. He loved bacon.
I was thinking as you're talking, as bad as Eric's diet was, I'm realizing now JD would probably drop 20 pounds if he ate as well as Eric. Because I watched what JD eats, and it's fucking unbelievable.
Oh.
Yeah, but those I could go on, but those are a few of the good ones. And the other thing that he told me that when he was in high school, it just kind of shows you the kind of guy he was, that he was the highest earner in this charity competition that they have. And the thing that cracked me up, the competition was called a mathalon. So whoever answered the most math questions correctly got the most money for charity, and Eric won that.
That can't be true.
That's what I could not believe that he could. I don't know how he.
Either that or all the kids in his school were morons.
What, did they get the test beforehand and it was open book or something?
It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, he was an amazing guy, and you treated him really well. I know he liked you. He didn't like Gary very much, but he did like you.
Yeah, Gary was his enemy. Did you? Yeah. It's interesting. What do you have, a file on everybody? I mean, because you're like a creepy stalker, Wolfie.
No, this was like I said. I only started talking to him maybe 2 months ago, and just as he was saying stuff, it was just fascinating.
Did you?
How did you wind up talking to him?
But you take notes, right? And then you.
I took notes on that, but I felt guilty about it. Like I never called in with it,
right?
Because I didn't want to. I felt like that was kind of betraying his trust. I didn't want to do that, but yeah. But now.
Why were you talking to him?
Just I hooked up with him from another guy from the show. He gave me his contact information, and we started talking.
Wolfie has a full-time job, which is unbelievable because he's got so much time.
Well, okay, Howard, the only time you could talk to Eric would want me to call him at midnight my time.
Right.
because that's, outside of his nap or TV schedule. So, yeah, late at night, every now and then I'd give him a call.
He didn't DVR? He would just, watch TV in real time?
I guess not. I don't know to that level. But that's what he said. He would always say, yeah, give me a call at midnight.
What facts do you have on speech impediment man? Do you have any?
Nah, I don't know him.
Okay, all right. Well, try to find out.
He'll be calling you later with his contact information.
All right, Wolfie, thank you for remembering Eric.
Yeah, good guy. Thanks, Howard.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye for now. That's how we should end. Bye for now. Using Eric's catchphrase.